Well, hello again. This is Pastor Mark. I wanted to finish our study on that fourth beatitude, hungering and thirsting for righteousness. Last time we talked about what it was, and now we can see how it is rewarded. So those that hunger and thirst for righteousness, the text says they will be satisfied. Other translations say they will be filled. Filled with what? Satisfied with what? Well, what are they hungering for? They're hungering for righteousness, and it is with righteousness that they will be filled. But again, in different ways. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. That's Psalm 37:4. All who come to Christ for salvation, for God's righteousness, they will be filled, they will be satisfied, they will be given the righteousness of Christ. And this is all who come. If you hunger and thirst for a God-perfected righteousness that is saving, it will be given to you. You will be forgiven. You will be accepted by God. You will be made right with him by grace. All who come to Christ for holiness, for personal righteousness, for growing in grace, they too shall be filled. They too shall be righteous. They too shall be satisfied. All who hunger for what I call public righteousness, to see the influence of the truth and of the gospel prevail in their relationships and in their world. If they hunger and thirst for it, they will be satisfied. They will see righteousness spread and become contagious. Their witness and their example to bring others to righteousness, they will be able to rest in their labors. They will be able to see the fruit of their labors. So what are you hungry for? Righteousness. The righteousness that saves, the righteousness that sanctifies, and the righteousness that purifies our world. If you hunger and thirst for righteousness, you will be satisfied. You will be filled. Let me tell you a story about a man who didn't hunger and thirst for righteousness. He was a son who had just finished college. We'll call him Bob. And he had a very wealthy father. And he was expecting a very handsome gift for his graduation. In fact, he sort of told his dad what he wanted. I want you to give me a sports car, and this is the kind that I want. And he fully expected his father, who could easily afford it, to give him this sports car as his reward for finishing college. And so, Bob came home for the graduation present after he graduated. And he's still thinking about the sports car, and his dad handed him a present, but it was just a small box, and he was already disappointed. But he opened the box, and he saw inside the box a leather Bible with his name engraved upon it with gold. And as soon as he saw the present, he was furious at his father. So he threw the box back at his dad, and he yelled at him, "With all your money, you just buy me a Bible? That's all you do?" So he stormed out of the house, and he never came back, and he never even spoke to his father again. And as he was making his way in life, he began to regret, as sometimes we do, how we treat our parents. And 10 years later, he said, I've got to go back to my father and make this right. That wasn't good of me. But just as he determined to do so, he got a telegram in the mail informing him that his father had died, and he had left his entire estate to his son. So Bob was coming home to set things in order. And he returned to the house for the first time in 10 years, and he went to the study of his father. And there in the study, he found that box, the graduation present that his father had given him from 10 years ago, still sitting there. And so he opened it, really opened it for the first time. And he noticed that his father had marked one verse in particular, and it was this, from Matthew 7, verse 11. "If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him?" And as he was reading that verse, something fell out of the box. Something clanged upon the ground. And what was it? It was the keys to a sports car. Can you imagine Bob and his intense shame and pain and regret because he did not accept the love of his father? He did not even see it. He went on pursuing his own life, doing what he wanted to do. How many times do we miss God's true blessing because we can't see past our own desires? So you will know Bob's shame and regret if you reject the love of the Father and pursue your own way. if you don't hunger and thirst after righteousness. But if you do, if you want to know blessedness and peace, true happiness, then pursue God. For those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, they will be filled and they will be satisfied.